Request Nadeem Nusrat, who's the chairman of Voice of Karachi and South Asia Minority Alliance, to join us on the podium here on the main desk. I'm also going to request my friend, former Congressman Tom Garrett, to come here, please. Really appreciate if you all could come. Firstly, I want to thank you, Tom. Thank you, Nadeem. Firstly, I want to thank everyone who's here to take our time. This is a press briefing which is focused on issues which Voice of Karachi and South Asia Minority Alliance have done over the last 1 year to brief you all on that. Most importantly, there are also two great things we want to celebrate with the folks here. So I want to thank the press being here, and most importantly, the minority leaders from both from the Baloch community, the Pashtun community, the Hazara community, and also from the Sikh and other minorities which play an important integral role in South Asia and its stability. And with that, I want to say first thing is that as we celebrate Martin Luther King Day and the Voice of Karachi Day, it's important that we have covered this ground about an year plus time, and we have had a very positive support from all the partners, especially the communities who joined us to make this coalition very strong. The goal here is to get our voices heard, and when we were doing these voices to be heard, there was a person who took these voiceless folks from all these communities and combined them together and really helped us become one strong bond, and that was my friend Tom Garrett. So Tom, thank you for your leadership when you were in Congress, and thank you again for being with us when we needed to be heard. And then after that, when we really grew in momentum, grew in strength, and grew in the vision to share with the people of the region, we also got the support from great many congressmen when we have done all these events in the last 1 year. Not only, I don't want to recite the names because I know Nadeem Bhai was able to share some of the snippets, not only from Congress, but US senators, and also folks in the religious minorities, IRF, International Religious Freedom, with the support we had from Ambassador Brownback and his office and the State Department. So I want to thank my administration for really promoting the national security of our nation, which is one of the focus is religious freedom. So that's a very important asset and a most important arrow we have in our quiver that basically is to promote American values all around the world, and especially to the people who have been the allies, who are friends of the United States. So I really want to say that we're very proud for what we have achieved, and most importantly, I also want to thank all the people who have helped us to get to this point today, that we are going to make some great announcement on that. Before I make one announcement, I'm going to let Nadeem Bhai tell the story, which is going to be very, very positive for the people in Karachi and the region. I also want to shout out to Matt, who's here. Matt, thank you for being here. Matt was the one who started a great story on what happens in Washington, the swamp, and he recently sold it to HBO. And now he's making a story about religious freedom, which is all over the world. So I'm glad you're here, and I know my friend Tom is going to be telling that story through his strong belief in the freedom of our country. So with that, I'm going to request Nadeem Bhai to share with what we have to do. But before I have him come, I do want to announce a very, very good thing. Former Congressman Tom Garrett has become an advisor with both Voice of Karachi and South Asia Minority Alliance. We are very proud to announce to have his leadership. Now he will help to guide us to work, to have a plan which will really help to implement the peace, the peace we want in the region, and also expand the American values and the footprint which we all are working very hard on. So with that, I request Nadeem Bhai to please come and share his vision of what he has to share with us. Thank you all, and a round of applause for Nadeem Bhai. Thank you.
Thank you. First, I would like to thank you, all of you, with the bottom of my heart. Ladies and gentlemen from media, people representing those Baloch brothers who are boldly fighting the suppression in their own region, our Pashtun friends. We have received messages of support from our other friends who are facing persecution in different parts of the world. This was not a, thank you, was a public event. This was mainly a media briefing. Thank you, Tom. You have been a great support, always from the day one. It was last year in Washington, D.C. when we kicked off a campaign under the platform of the Voice of Karachi. We called it Free Karachi Campaign. And we wanted to see Karachi free of suppression, intimidation, extrajudicial killings, and all kinds of or other forms of deprivation and persecution. In 1 year, I am proud to say that we may have made tremendous strides. In this 1 year alone, we have been able to meet a record number of members of Congress, senators, people in think tanks, and other policy makers. We also have been able to work together with a number of other oppressed communities. And trust me, there is no shortage of them in that part of the world we come from. Baloch are facing tremendous amount of suppression. Pashtuns are facing. People of Gilgit and Hazara are facing. Baltistan are facing. Every region is facing one form of suppression or another. Congressman Tom Garrett, who has joined us and has agreed to help us move forward. He was there from the very beginning, and while working together, we were able to achieve a lot more than most organizations achieve in years. We are also working very closely with the current administration's focus on religious freedom. So United States Commission for International Religious Freedoms, we are working very closely with them. And the goal is to ensure end of persecution, whether it is based on ethnicity or it is based on religion. Now, moving forward, I have to make a very important announcement. And a lot of folks back home in South Asia, especially in Pakistan, in Karachi, which is one of the biggest cities in the world, they are watching this live streaming, and they are actually 10 hours ahead of us. So it's almost 5 o'clock in the morning over there. So Plato once famously said, an unexamined life is not worth living. And similarly, a wise man recently, I was watching a documentary, famous leading American actor, Denzel Washington, said he once was approached by a very wise lady who said that dreams without a goal are just dreams. Dreams without a goal only bring disappointment in life. Dreams mean nothing when you don't have a tangible goal to achieve. Almost 80 years ago, our forefathers in a united India also had a dream. It was to live a life free of suppression. And here, when we say dream, I really have to mention that today is Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day here in Washington or in the US. And one of the reasons we chose this day because he was the leading rights activist, an icon. And this is why we kicked off our campaign last year on this day, and today we have chosen this day only because of this reason that we can identify with him. He stood up against repression, and we are doing exactly the same thing. The idea of Pakistan translated those dreams into a meaningful goal. The land of Pakistan was described as the dreamland where our forefathers were supposed to be free from all kinds of ethnic and religious persecution. They sacrificed everything to turn their dream, Pakistan, into a reality. However, unfortunately, their goal of living a life free from persecution and hatred in their own dreamland could never become a reality. When Pakistan became a reality, a lot of Muslims who were living in India migrated to Pakistan. But majority of them was not even allowed to migrate to Pakistan. And the borders were closed, and those who were eventually allowed to actually come in to Pakistan, they were never ever accepted as sons of the soil. The religion Islam, which was the idea that it will eventually transcend all the barriers and will unify all different ethnic groups within Pakistan, miserably failed. And ethnic identity remained a very strong element within Pakistan. And Pakistani nationalism always remained and still remains an elusive dream. And a prime example of this is the creation of Bangladesh in 1971. It's been well over 70 years since the creation of Pakistan, but those muhajirs who migrated from India to Pakistan are still not accepted as sons of the soil in Pakistan or worthy of equal rights. Millions of them have been making tremendous sacrifices, and it's been 70 years, to achieve the same dream their forefathers had when India was still a united country under the British control. Their dream has never been materialized, and the journey still goes on. Since the creation of Pakistan, even though we have been giving tremendous amount of sacrifices, unfortunately what is missing is a clearly defined goal for muhajirs or Urdu speaking people, whose majority lives in urban areas of Pakistan, in Sindh province. Today, therefore, we are presenting a plan which we believe will not only provide Urdu-speaking muhajirs with a way forward, it will also provide every citizen of urban Sindh and other parts of Pakistan a viable solution to end the ongoing injustices and discrimination. Recently, a very tragic incident happened. I'm sure most of you already must have heard. A young Boston University MBA, Ali Raza Abdi, who was a member of Pakistan the National Assembly, he was gunned down on Christmas Day in Karachi, right at the doorstep of his house. He was only 47 years old and was a businessman. Very vocal on social media, very vibrant in every aspect. But not only he was a muhajir, he was also Shia. And it was very easy for those forces of oppression to actually target him. And eventually he was. He was living dangerously. And before he died, we were working very closely to actually come up with the same plan. We wanted to unify different segments or groups who are working for Muhajir cause in urban Sindh. We were also working to give these people, disenfranchised people, a tangible goal to achieve. So we actually took it upon ourselves, and the core committee of the Voice of Karachi, which had been working tirelessly for the last many months, actually they decided to actually give up everything and just complete everything by this day. And today I'm proud that we have come to a point where we can make this announcement. The Voice of Karachi Core Committee has been working tirelessly for the last many months to find a viable solution that could resolve urban Sindh's long-standing chronic issues such as growing unemployment, poverty, lack of urban representation in police and government jobs and in parliament, gerrymandering in electoral constituencies, massive rigging in census figures, rising street crimes, lack of investment, and the rise of extremism in Karachi. After extensive research and deliberations, we have found a solution that we believe will adequately resolve urban Sindh's civic, economic, and political issues, and will also act as a role model to resolve similar situations in Pakistan's other regions. Today, on civil rights legend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s Day, through this media briefing, the Voice of Karachi formally demands the state of Pakistan to declare the urban areas of Sindh province as an autonomous region within the boundaries of Pakistan. We have unanimously decided to call this region, we have named it the Greater Karachi. The creation of an autonomous region within the boundaries of a sovereign country like Pakistan is not a strange phenomenon. The Balkan region is an example where Bosnians, Serbs, and Croats have finally been working together after years and years of infighting that claims tens of thousands of lives and destroyed entire towns and cities. Here, this is the map, proposed map of the Greater Karachi. And I'll share with you in writing all the details. The finest and most relevant example, in our opinion, is the creation of an autonomous Kurdish region in Iraq, which has brought much needed peace in that volatile part of the world. The region is not a sovereign state, but an autonomous region officially called the Kurdish region of Iraq, accepted by the Iraqi constitution, located in northern Iraq with a population of 5.75 million on a 46,861 square kilometers. The capital of this region is Erbil, and it is fast turning into a role model for the entire region with its peace, growing prosperity, and development. You might be wondering what prompts the Greater Karachi demand. So, just a brief summary. Karachi, with an estimated population of over 25 million people, and there are over 100 countries which are, in terms of population, are smaller than Karachi. Karachi deserves a similar status more than any other region in the world. Since the creation of Pakistan, this province, the province of Sindh, has never had an elected Muhajir chief minister, despite the presence of majority Muhajir population in Sindh. The imposition of rural-urban quota system since the 1970s has already clearly divided the province into two distinct regions. Most international bodies rank Karachi as the second most populous city in the world, with a population of at least 25 million. Even a 2016 World Bank Group report commissioned by Sindh government itself put a figure of 16 million as Karachi's population. Yet, Pakistan's 2017 census figures Karachi's population merely 14.9 million, which means nearly half the population was wiped out, and it's been the case from 1947. The same World Bank report mentioned a number of actually injustices. It said clearly Karachi is not prepared for any natural or human-made disaster. Karachi is in a terrible shape. Karachi has no infrastructure, no city plan. It is the only city of this size which doesn't have a central transport system. Like you see in most of the world, like underground railway system or a bus system or a circular railway system. Karachi has none of it. And if you take into account that Karachi is the city that runs Pakistan, 65% plus taxes which go towards Pakistan's exchequer every year, they come from Karachi alone. And this is a city which World Bank believes that on top of regular investment in the city, it needs every year around $10 billion to prepare the city or to make it at par with other important cities in the world. Karachi's mayor, Karachi does have a mayor, but Karachi's Metropolitan Corporation only controls 30 or 32% of the city or its resources. The rest is either controlled by the federal government, provincial government, or Pakistani military's cantonment boards. There are many military-controlled cantonment board which actually do not pay taxes towards the city. Karachi's land is like gold, but Karachi's own citizens have absolutely no control over their own land or resources. You would be surprised that in Karachi's police, you wouldn't find any local people. It is almost impossible to expect any Karachiite in Karachi's police. Forget about Pakistani army or intelligence agencies or other law enforcement agencies. Karachi's police is not from Karachi. Everyone is recruited from outside Karachi. I grew up in Karachi and I have experienced it myself. That people, students from Karachi, even after scoring 85% in their, what would you say, A-level exam, you can't expect to be accepted in a government-run medical college or an engineering college. But in the same college, you can see people coming from rural areas with 43 or 44% marks and sitting right next to the person who is there with 95 or 96% marks. And that is the level of injustices we have been facing. And as I said, despite paying most amount of taxes. In fact, most people actually, it's just Karachi where people pay taxes, and you can't find any other place where people pay as much taxes as people of Karachi pay. It's not hard to imagine that people listening or watching this live media briefing will have lots of questions in their minds. And I assure you that we have answers to most of your possible questions. Unfortunately, it's not possible to cover everything in this media briefing. So we'll continue to hold briefings after this live briefing. I would request, would you please hand out? Sure. We have for the media a copy of the map and how we have decided to actually carve out a Greater Karachi. We also have provided you with a breakdown of the population. We also have provided you how much area would be part of this region. Again, it's not separatism. As I said, it's having an autonomous region within a sovereign country is common and a viable solution. We are not going to create our own army. We are not asking to be allowed to have our own foreign policy. However, we will definitely demand, and we do demand, access to our own resources. We want to control education policy, health policies, and also we would like to see our region free from any kind of persecution and bias and discrimination. The current constitution of Pakistan doesn't allow non-Muslims to become the head of the state. We would like to have a domestic constitution which will allow any citizen of Karachi to become the chief minister of the Greater Karachi, regardless of gender, regardless of sectarian association or religion. Only merit should be the only criteria for anybody to actually go to any position in Karachi or the Greater Karachi. I will take just a few minutes in Urdu. I know most of you wouldn't be able to understand, but a lot of people, as I said, back home are watching, so I'll say a few words for them. آج سے 1 سال پہلے ہم نے آج ہی کے دن ڈاکٹر مارٹن لوتھر کنگ ڈے پر ہم نے گریٹر کراچی کی جو آج اناؤنسمنٹ کی، اس سے پہلے سال ہم نے وائس آف کراچی کی بنیاد رکھی تھی. اس 1 سال میں ہم نے بہت زیادہ کام کیا. بہت سارے کانگریس مین، سینیٹرز، تھنک ٹینکس کے لوگوں تک پہنچ کر ہم نے اپنا مقدمہ ان کے سامنے رکھا ہے. جو بات میں نے ابھی اپنی بریفنگ میں کہی ہے وہ یہ کہ قربانیاں ہم نے دی ہیں. 25,000 سے زیادہ لوگ ہمارے ماورائے عدالت قتل ہوئے ہیں، ایکسٹرا جوڈیشلی قتل ہوئے ہیں ان گزشتہ چند برسوں میں. لیکن مقصد کیا ہے ان قربانیوں کا؟ ہمارے آباء و اجداد نے جب قربانیاں دی تھیں 1947 سے پہلے، تو وہ ان کا نعرہ تھا بٹ کے رہے گا، ہندوستان لے کے رہیں گے، پاکستان سینے پہ گولی کھائیں گے، پاکستان بنائیں گے. یہ سب کہا، انہوں نے پاکستان بنا دیا. لیکن وہ جو ڈریم ہمیں دکھایا گیا تھا وہ ڈریم کبھی میٹیریلائز نہیں ہوا. جس پاکستان کا خواب دیکھا تھا وہ اس پاکستان کی کبھی تکمیل نہیں ہو سکی. کبھی ان کو نہ مذہبی آزادی ملی، نہ لسانی آزادی ملی. اور المیہ یہ کہ تمام تر ٹیکسز دینے کے باوجود، اپنا گھر بار چھوڑنے کے باوجود ہمیں پاکستان میں کبھی فرزند زمین تسلیم نہیں کیا گیا. یہی وجہ تھی کہ ہم سب نے، میں خود 28 سال سے ایگزائل میں ہوں اور ساتھی ایگزائل میں ہیں. ہمارے والدین اس دنیا سے چلے گئے، ہم ان کے جنازوں میں شریک نہیں ہوئے. ہمارے ساتھ جو لوگ ہیں، ہر گھر میں کوئی نہ کوئی سانحہ ہوا اور ہم اس کا حصہ نہیں بن سکے کہ ہم کسی کو گلے سے لگا کے 2 بول تسلی کے دے سکیں. لیکن مقصد کیا ہے ان قربانیوں کا؟ ہم چاہتے کیا تھے؟ ہم نے اتنی قربانیاں کس نام پر دی ہیں؟ وہ کون سی منزل ہے؟ اس کا تعین کون کرے گا، کب کرے گا؟ ہماری 1 نسل، 2 نسل، 3 نسلیں چلی گئیں قربانیاں پہ قربانیاں. لیکن کوئی لاہے عمل تو سامنے ہو کہ اگر میں اپنی جان دے رہا ہوں، میرا خون گر رہا ہے زمین پہ، تو میں مرتے وقت کہہ تو سکوں کہ میں اپنی جان اس مقصد کے لیے دے کے جا رہا ہوں. جیسے میرے آباء و اجداد نے کہا کہ ہم یہ جان پاکستان کے لیے دے رہے ہیں. ٹھیک ہے، وہ ان کا خواب ہی رہا، لیکن کم از کم اس خواب کی ایک شکل تو تھی نا. ہم نے 25,000 جانیں دے دی، لیکن ہمارے سامنے مقصد کیا ہے؟ میں کیوں اپنی جان دوں؟ آنے والی نسل کو مجھے ایک لاہے عمل، ایک منزل تو دکھانی ہے نا. اور یہی آج ہمارے جمع ہونے کا مقصد ہے کہ ہم تمام لوگوں نے مہینوں کی محنت کے بعد، ہم نے وقت ضائع نہیں کیا ہے، ہم نے رات دن یہاں کام کیا ہے، ہم نے ایکسپرٹ سے ملاقاتیں کی ہیں، ڈاکیومنٹ ریڈی کیا ہے. یہ ہم اپنی ویب سائٹ پہ پبلش کریں گے، فیس بک پہ پبلش کریں گے. اس کو ڈاکیومنٹ کی صورت میں تمام جو بھی انٹرسٹڈ ہیں ان سے شیئر کریں گے، اور پلس جتنی بھی انٹرنیشنل باڈیز ہیں ان سے شیئر کریں گے. ہمارا ہوم ورک مکمل ہے ہمارے اینڈ پہ، لیکن اگر کسی کے پاس کوئی سجیشن ہے تو ہم سے شیئر کیجئے. اگلے چند روز میں ہم واٹس ایپ کے ذریعے، فیس بک کے ذریعے، لائیو اسٹریمنگ کے ذریعے مسلسل بریفنگز کریں گے، جس میں ہم لوگوں سے یہ کہیں گے کہ وہ ہمیں جوائن کریں، اپنے سوالات ہم تک بھیجیں، ہم تمام سوالوں کے جواب دیں گے. میں آج کی اس بریفنگ میں جو شریک ہیں، جو بلوچ سولیڈیرٹی کے اظہار کے لیے آئے ہیں، میں ان کا شکر گزار ہوں. جو پشتون آئے ہیں، جو اور مائنورٹیز کے لوگ ہیں، آپ سب نے یہ سنا کہ جو ورجینیا کے کانگریس مین ہیں ٹام کیرٹ، انہوں نے آج ساؤتھ ایشیا مائنورٹیز الائنس فاؤنڈیشن اور وائس آف کراچی کو ایز این ایڈوائزر جوائن کیا ہے. میں آپ سب کے بیہاف پہ ان کو بھی خوش آمدید کہتا ہوں. اس ڈاکیومنٹ کی تیاری میں مجھ سمیت بہت سارے ساتھیوں نے اپنے درجنوں دن اور رات لگائے ہیں. ایک نہیں، بہت بڑی ٹیم ہے اس کے پیچھے، اور وہ مسلسل ابھی بھی کام کر رہی ہے. لائیو اسٹریمنگ ہو یا سوشل میڈیا پہ، وہ ٹیم مسلسل کام کر رہی ہے، اور الحمدللہ ان کی تعداد میں روز اضافہ ہو رہا ہے. لیکن ہم میں سے کسی کو نہ لیڈر بننا ہے، نہ ہم نے پارلیمنٹ میں جانا ہے، نہ اپنے لیے نعرے لگوانے ہیں. ہم نے قوم کے لیے کام کرنا ہی ہمارا مقصد ہے. آج کا تاریخی دن، اس کو نوٹ کیجیے گا، اور ہماری دعا ہے کہ علی رضا عابدی سمیت جتنے شہید ہیں ہمارے، جنہوں نے قربانیاں دی، ان سب کی قربانیوں کے نتیجے میں گریٹر کراچی جلد ایک ریئلٹی بن کر ہمارے سامنے آئے. آپ میں سے بہت سارے لوگ ہیں جو آج بھی پاکستان سے محبت کرتے ہیں، بہت سارے ایسے لوگ ہیں جو چاہتے ہیں کہ ہمیں صوبہ ملے. لیکن اتنے سارے جو مختلف تعدادات والے آئیڈیاز کو سامنے رکھ کر ایک وایا میڈیا، ایک درمیان کی چیز نکالنا آسان نہیں تھا. میں ریاست پاکستان سے آخر میں کہوں گا कि आपने बंगालियों को हक नहीं दिया, आपने रियासत बनवा ली, आपने बलोचों को शुरू दिन से उनका हक नहीं दिया, आज वहाँ लैदगी पसंदी की तहरीक चल रही है। यही आज पश्तूनों के साथ हो रहा है, ये गिलगित बल्तिस्तान में हो रहा है। आज भी मौका है, हमने एक ऐसा वायबल आपको एक प्लान दिया है, अगर आप इस पर अमल करेंगे, आप सिंध के अर्बन एरिया में रहने वालों को उनका हक दे देंगे, तो हम अपने इलाके की तामीर करेंगे, तरक्की करेंगे और इसमें अपने लोगों को इंगेज करेंगे। अगर आप इसको अलाउ करेंगे तो एक पॉसिबिलिटी है कि हम बहुत सारी जो खराबियाँ इस वक्त हमारे माशरे की, उनको हम रिजॉल्व कर लें। लेकिन अगर आपने ऐसा नहीं किया तो ये ध्यान में रखिए कि फिर जो नेक्स्ट स्टेप होगा उसको ना आप रोक सकते हैं, ना हम रोक सकते हैं। तो बेहतर है कि लोगों को जिस रीजन में रहते हैं उनको खुद मुख्तारी दीजिए। मैं आज के इस प्रोग्राम में के अख्ताम पे, अपनी गुफ्तगू के अख्ताम पे जो तमाम शुक्र हैं, मैं सबका शुक्रिया अदा करता हूँ और अगले चंद रोज़ में आप सबसे मुसलसल रब्ता रहेगा। मैं अगेन फिर कहूँगा कि ये प्लान किसी के ख़िलाफ़ नहीं है। खुद महाजरों में बहुत सारी तंजीमें मौजूद हैं, मैं उनसे भी कहूँगा कि हाँ, ये प्लान हमने आपके लिए भी किया है। खुदारा इसको आप अपना डॉक्यूमेंट बना लीजिए। आपको अगर इस हमसे कोई बात करनी है, आप हमसे कर लीजिए, अपने अख्तलाफात ख़त्म कीजिए। एक दूसरे को गालियाँ देना, गद्दारी के सर्टिफिकेट बांटना, कत्ल की धमकियाँ देना, ये सब बंद कर दीजिए। कौम इसकी मुताहम्मिल नहीं हो सकती। लोग बर्बाद हो रहे हैं, लोग तबाह हो रहे हैं। आने वाली नस्लों का कुछ दे के जाना है, वरना जिस तरह हम अपने बुज़ुर्गों के हवाले से बातें करते हैं, आने वाली नस्लें हमें भी इसी तरह जो है वो बख्शेंगी नहीं। मैं in the end I would like to thank everybody. I guess I took a little longer than I was anticipating, but it's a historical day for all of us and there is a lot I had to cover. So thank you everyone. I would like Puneet to continue from here. Thank you everyone.
Folks, you all saw the vision and the future for the Muhajirs and the region. First thing is, I just want to thank Nadeem Bhai's leadership and all the folks from the Baloch Pashtun community and all the folks who have come in to help us make this day a great, momentous day. Because you don't get here just by winging it. It's the patience, it's the perseverance. And I want to thank my leadership, including Tom Garrett, who also helped us paint this vision. And it's not to be mistaken as anything different than stabilizing South Asia. I'm proud to come from South Asia. I see the religious minorities, the ethnic minorities slaughtered in the name of religion, or name of whatever it is. It has to stop. If we all envision to be one and be a great grand empire, the heritage we all have, is this what the future we are laying for our future kids and the future generation to look back at us and say how stupid we were, how illiterate we were, and we claim to be 5,000 or 10,000 year old? That's not the way you grow. You grow in loving the beauty of each other's faith and difference and making that your strength. Just like my great nation, the United States, has done. It has taken the best of all of us. Today when I see your cross, I don't see what your faith or what your religion is. I see an American, I see a man who's out to fulfill his vision. As President Reagan said, it's the shining city on the hill. My goal is to have that shining city in South Asia, in Karachi, in Mumbai, in Afghanistan, in Bangladesh, in Sri Lanka. That's how we all want to see it. We want to see a stable region, and most importantly, because it's such a large population, we can't displace that population. It cannot be displaced. They all have to stay there and be there. So with that, folks, I do want to have the next guest, not the guest who's now an advisor with us, my good friend, also my hero at times for what he does. He was in, he does dangerous things. He goes to war zones. He was recently in Kurdistan, putting his life at risk. You know why? For religious freedom. And thank you for your leadership with that, Tom. With that, I'd like you to please come and share your vision for SAMF and the UK. Thank you.
I want to correct the record on behalf of my friends at the Kurdish Regional Government. That's not a dangerous place. The dangerous places are all around there.
Yes.
It's just an honor to be here. It's probably about 2 years ago I got to know Puneet and have worked with him over time. And I think at the first event that we had for SAMF and VOK in Rayburn, where we have 22 members of Congress come by. So you have something that sells, and it sells because it works. Now, Nadeem, who has seen things that I'll never see and knows things that I'll never know, said he thought the best example of an autonomous sub-region inside of a greater nation might be Iraqi Kurdistan, and I would argue that that's an amazingly good example. I was poking at my phone here trying to find the article from October of 2018, which I found, that named Erbil in Iraq one of the 5 safest cities on earth, right? It's right there with Osaka, Japan, and Quebec City, Quebec. Now that's a success story. You don't have to drive too far in most any direction to find a circumstance that's not nearly as palatable. And in Erbil, there's tolerance. And Kawa is a thriving Christian minority community in that city, and there are mosque-side churches in ways that used to exist in Basra and Mosul and Baghdad, and it's been done by virtue of a people who aren't perfect, the Kurds, who were, because there was certainly atrocities that Kurds engaged in 100 years ago, right? But who are willing to move forward and acknowledge that all people are created equal and endowed by their creator with certain inalienable rights, which is why it's so brilliantly appropriate to be here on Dr. King's holiday. Because Dr. King fought in a metaphorical sense, not in a violent sense, and died to foster this idea that a society that gives everyone an opportunity will be a stronger and better and more vibrant society. And tragically, Dr. King wasn't the first, and he won't be the last. I'm a Christian. On Christmas Day, Ali Raza Abdi was murdered outside of his home. A Shia in an area that was controlled primarily by Sunnis, and we don't know exactly what happened yet, but we suspect that we know. And that shouldn't happen, and it should certainly never happen when someone stands up to assert basic truths. That everyone is entitled to one fundamental thing, and that is an opportunity, not an equality of outcome, right? That's been tried, the former Soviet Union can be read about, right? But an equality of opportunity. And so my favorite example of autonomous subregions is in Erbil, although I do have a fond spot in my heart for what they're doing in the KRG. It's the United States of America, right? 13 colonies in a federalist construct have control over themselves, right? There's a United States Army, but there's also a California National Guard. And there's a Los Angeles County Sheriff's Office. So that the responsibilities for economic plans and stewardship of resources and security are split reasonably at each level. Now, what does this do? It allows the majority in areas in a democratic system to have control. And what that does is let them make decisions. And some guy named Thomas Jefferson said that decisions made closest to home are the most effective and easily executed decisions, right? You don't want someone deciding for your family what's best for your family. You want to make that decision at your kitchen table. And so that's the idea here, that we're not standing here espousing a declaration of independence and civil strife with Pakistan and the sub-entity Karachi, but submitting that the people of Karachi have a right to have an autonomous say in the control at the proper level of that which occurs in and around Karachi. And it has to work there because it's worked everywhere else it's ever been honestly tried. We talk about whether or not we should allow people into processes. We see stronger societies where the talent pool is expanded. I used to talk to my daughters a lot about opportunity and affirmative action and equal opportunity, etc. And my argument was always, if Coca-Cola, we'll use the Cola Wars as an example, if Coca-Cola only hires the most qualified men, and Pepsi hires the most qualified men and women, who will eventually win the Cola War? By virtue of taking from a larger talent pool. So if you're Baloch, if you're Sindhi, if you're Punjabi come Muhajir, if you're Pashto, if you're Zeri, you bring talent to the table. And who suffers when you're pushed away from that table? The collective whole, right? We get a better outcome for the collective whole of Pakistan by empowering the individuals of every ethnic group in Greater Karachi. So it's not a radical idea. And it's not an idea that's breaking any new ground. It's an idea that's breaking new ground here. And it's not some sort of hard sell. Again, this isn't a militant movement seeking to have armed conflict with the greater Pakistan. It's a group of people who are demanding a seat at the table. And for me, You know, Panit was effusive in his praise. I did go while I was in the Middle East over Thanksgiving. Outside of Kurdistan, we went into Syria and down into Darfur province, where the fight was still on and still is against ISIS. I told my wife, because this is the sort of thing a bad husband tells his wife when he's gone on Thanksgiving, that I counted 87 people who were killed in Najin within 24 hours of when I was there. We met with the gentleman in the Minbij Military Council, and that's been in the news recently. In fact, I've had the honor of meeting one of the young men, American young men, who lost his life briefly. But we met with a gentleman, a local gentleman in the Minbij Military Council, who was attacked with an IED the next day. So yeah, we go places that are dangerous, but it's really simple. We talked about things that Dr. King said and Jefferson said. There's a pastor who said to me, we're all going to die. The ultimate question is how we will live. And for me, as a member of Congress, as a husband, as a father, as a human, I've never really done anything that compared to going to the international arrivals gate at Dulles Airport and giving hugs to two total strangers who had worked 6 months to get out of prison in a country that had incarcerated them for giving food to their neighbors. And so, for me, it was a no-brainer as I understood what South Asian Minority Coalition, what Voice of Karachi sought to do, that if I could help people anywhere in the world, that was probably about the highest, best use of the time and the energies and the talents that God's given me. So again, it's radical because it's not been done before here, but it's not been done before. And let me step back for a moment. I am delightfully blessed to have been amongst the 1 in 26 to have been born in the United States, and I love this country and I'm proud of it. It's not perfect, right? This is a perpetual mission for humanity. Everyone always needs to be trying to remember basic fundamental truths. That is that everyone, regardless of how they look or how they worship or what gender they are or what ethnicity they are, deserves a chance. And if you give them that chance, some will succeed and some will fail, but everyone will be lifted by them having had the opportunity. So Pakistan hurts itself by hurting its minority community in Karachi. And what Voice of Karachi has done here tonight is to submit that they want to be full and complete participants in the governing of the lands where they are a majority, not to the detriment of a greater Pakistan, but to the benefit of all. That's not radical, that's just right. So with that, I thank Panit, I thank Nadeem for his leadership, and I thank you all for being here.
We are running on time, but as you may all know that this is being live on Facebook and other channels. If the media, we have special time for media to interview Nadeem Bhai and Tom Garrett. Most importantly, if there's any question that anyone has, we can take that on. But I did get one on Facebook when I was listening. So Nadeem, you mind if I just pose one quick question? Or if there's anyone there, I just want to hog the mic here. If there's any question at this time, we can take it. Otherwise, they're both here. Yes, please.
How do you propose to become an autonomous region within Karachi, considering the Greater Pakistan, in a process that is democratic and a process that is peaceful, which is not disruptive to the country at large? How do you propose to achieve that?
I'm going to have you repeat your question here, if you don't mind. I don't want to stop you. So what your question was, how do you have this autonomous region become a process which is not destructive but constructive?
Well, and also that it's a democratic process that involves other citizens in Pakistan and Karachi.
Which organization? Can highlight the name of the organization?
I don't belong to the organization. I was over here in the
Okay. Well, I can answer that question on a later stage. But at the same time, I just give you the it's mainly for the press. What this question is. If anybody from the press want to answer that question, but we can have that question answered to you in a specific way. But
I can hit it.
Okay, Tom, go ahead, hit it.
There are any number of tools in the proverbial toolbox, right? Ultimately, the people who make Karachi tick right now are also people who happen to be disenfranchised. That's at the local, tactical level on the ground. Strategically, and this is something that I will push until they put me in the ground, the United States should begin to convey to the world, whether the Republican Party or the Democrat parties in the White House or Congress, that we base our foreign policy on shared values. Without ever firing a bullet, dropping a bomb, or shedding a drop of blood, we should do business with people who honor those within the boundaries of their nation with basic human freedoms. You should never go to bed at night for fear of your safety by virtue of your ethnicity, your faith, who you...
Which was my question,
So-
which was how do you do that democratically, sharing our values with the Pakistanis without causing disruption to achieve this?
Well, there's
goal?
never been, I mean, there may be disruption, but let's do it without bloodshed, right?
Right, so what do you propose?
Well, I mean, you know, you see all sorts of peaceful efforts between bus boycotts and strikes, general strikes. I'm not going to get into the tactical level. That's not why I'm here. But having said that, if the United States government says, hey, Pat, which we haven't been willing to do, we haven't had a foreign policy doctrine that transcended administrations really successfully since the Monroe Doctrine. If we started at the micro and worked the macro as a nation and said we want to do business with people who share basic fundamental values, that you should be safe in your home regardless of your faith, etc., then we'll see the world start to change itself. But when we are in bed with or arming, etc., people who are nefarious or have underhanded goals because we're worried about a macro problem, a greater Iran or what Russia's doing or China, then we always ignore, neglect, and forget, let alone exploit minority groups. I mean, we betrayed the Kurds repeatedly, but it's not because we're bad, it's because the policy's bad. So the macro is we need to put pressure on leadership of the United States to support people who share basic values. We'll have economic, strategic, and security partnerships with people who share basic values. And the micro, the on-the-ground stuff, I mean, whether it's Gandhi or Dr. King or whomever, there are templates for that. Now, how that's done, I won't get into spoil, you know, too many cooks spoil the soup. But if the people in Karachi who aren't endowed with equal opportunity decided to get the attention of the people in Karachi who essentially exploited them, they'd get their attention, and they would need to fire a gun to do it.
In fact, I was just given a text on this through the path shown by Martin Luther King and Mahatma Gandhi. We can achieve anything. So that's one thing. But thank you for your question. I'm going to come to the second one. Please identify yourself and I'd appreciate if you could say your question standing up so everybody can listen to it.
So Tom Garrett, know me. My name is Saber Rock. I work for Congress Office, businessman, as a cultural advisor, and I'm SME for Afghanistan and United States. So question is, was the Congress decision for Afghanistan and Karachi? We had good relationship before. I got hurt. I got grew up in Afghanistan. So we have some connection between Afghanistan and Pakistan, but not now because of the current president of Afghanistan. So was the Congress office decision for Afghanistan and Pakistan policy, because Afghanistan, they don't feel safe, and Pakistan either. So what's the relationship, and what should we do for these two countries? Which is, I grew up in Lahore, so we love those countries. Thank you.
So I didn't understand what was your question precisely.
The question is, what should we do, because the Congress and President of the United States, they promised us that we will bring a lot of peace and changes for Afghanistan and Pakistan, and we will make them friends. But they still have problems.
You want to talk about the Monroe Doctrine?
Yeah, well, look, I'm convinced one of the reasons that I was happy in my decision not to seek re-election was I genuinely believe I could do more to influence American foreign policy out of Congress than I can in it. But anybody who is crazy enough to follow me on Twitter knows that when the president made his unilateral and I think poor decision as related to Syria, I was as loud and as vehement as any critic he has, and I'm not done yet, right? So there's an argument, if you break it, you buy it. I'm not going to, there are two schools of thought in the world, and they're both wrong. One is that the United States is responsible for all the world's problems, and the other is that the United States is the solution for all the world's problems. The reality is that the solution for the Pakistan problem and the Afghanistan problem will be found largely in Pakistan and Afghanistan, but that doesn't absolve the United States of its responsibility to stick around and try to help, because a lot of the problems that we find either we created through benign indifference post-Soviet occupation of Afghanistan, or exacerbated post 9/11 when the United States went into Afghanistan. And then I think, and again, I'm not here to throw political barbs, that there was either a willful or ignorant neglect for the last, now I'll say 9 years. Although President Trump really did sort of tighten the screws on some of the leadership in Pakistan not too long ago, to sort of assert any sort of preconditions on Pakistan and the ISI to U.S. aid and ongoing support, right? So if you don't say, in exchange for our support doing X, we expect you to do Y, don't be surprised when they do Z. And it's not because you own somebody or you're dictating it, it's saying, if you want this, then you'll do that. It's called negotiation. So 17 years by American military standards is an eternity, right? We've been there an awful long time, and my frustration, and I've had this conversation with high-ranking members of the government in Afghanistan, not so much in Pakistan, is, you know, if we send $10 to Afghanistan, 9 of it's pilfered before it gets where it's supposed to go in aid, right? Corruption, etc. How do you solve this? Do you turn and walk away? Well, we turn and walk away at our own peril. And by we, I don't mean Americans, I mean human beings. Right? When you allow extremism to breed and foment and expand, it will come to your neighborhood sooner or later, whether it's in Boston, Massachusetts, or Lahore. So I think that the United States needs to play the long game as it relates to understanding that this wasn't broken overnight and it won't be fixed overnight. I think that the United States can do an awful lot of stability with an awful little in numbers. I think Syria bears that out, right? It was the safest of the major deployments up until we said we were leaving. And I don't think that's an accident. So do I agree with the U.S. policy? I think I understand where it's coming from. I think I'd do it a little bit differently. And I think the worst thing we can do is pack up the tent and leave, because that's exactly what happened post-Soviet withdrawal. And then 8 years later, you've got bin Laden, and then 3 years after that, you've got 9/11, and then we're scratching our heads wondering how it started when we helped to create the circumstances that allowed them to have safe haven there. I don't know if I answered the question.
But I will reserve that. I'll have last one here with Jinder. Fine.
Yeah.
Please go ahead.
This is Tejinder Singh from India America Today, from the press, a journalist. And I have two questions, one for each. I know Congressman from his tweets, and let's not go there for now. But the question to you is a little bit off, and it is about the shutdown and your views on that.
Could we just stick to Karachi, if you don't mind?
And what are you looking forward as an advisor to these organizations? And to Nadeem Bhai, it is that what is your steps forward? Like I did go through what you have provided us. I did listen to you. You have a vision. You like I can see the vision. I can see the thing. But what is there are some baby steps that moving forward. So if you can expand on those baby steps, how do we see? What is the first step that you see the government taking or you pressing? What will satisfy you that there is a way forward and it's not just blocked out there?
Yeah, I'll talk shutdown with you afterwards, right?
Yeah.
We'll stay on topic.
Yeah.
And then the second part of your question was, help me.
You've just been announced as an advisor.
Oh, what do I offer?
And so,
I think I understand how that
with
place
with
works.
your knowledge of democracy, about the Congress, everything, the international relations between the countries, with the region, how do you see your working on that?
I studied history and education when I was in college, and if I had to do over again, I would study marketing and economics. Because economics is the science of how things work, and marketing is essentially sales, right? And the way to succeed in this endeavor or any endeavor is by selling an idea, right? It sounds bad, but it's not bad if the idea is good. And so what I bring to the table, I think, is the ability to communicate that what's proposed here by VOK, by Nadeem, isn't radical. It's been done before. It's a federalist idea that the locality should govern the locality, the state should govern the state, and the federal government should have its responsibilities for the greater. And so that sort of packaging, I think, will help move this along on the U.S. side. The other thing is that, ironically, for whatever reason, like animals at some level, members of Congress don't tend to listen to members of Congress, but they will listen to subject matter experts, right? And what I want to do, the consulting group I started a week ago is Azadi Consulting. I didn't do that by accident because I was working with VOK and SAMIF. I did it because I want to work in a region from the Mediterranean to the South China Sea, helping people who are oppressed. And Azadi means freedom in about 15 different languages, so there you go. And so this is just for me, you know, why did God put me here? What am I supposed to be doing? This is the most important calling I can think of. That every human being has basic fundamental rights, that the United States has a disproportionate ability to influence good if we do it right, which we don't always, even though I think we're a great nation. We are not perfect by a long shot. And so I think I can help to essentially craft a message for these gentlemen to give to the people who do make the decisions in the United States that might make the United States do things differently, which might help encourage governments in places like Pakistan and India to do things differently.
Well, I would say that never underestimate the power of people and the power of peace. And we believe in both powers. People are in Karachi and other parts of urban Sindh are being oppressed for a long time, and there is a tremendous amount of frustration that we need to translate into meaningful actions to get their message across. So we have chosen this day, Dr. Martin Luther King Day, because we believe in peace, number one. I think the peace and non-violence is a lot more powerful than any weapon in the world. And I think with the help of people of Karachi and the people who are willing to work with us throughout the world, I think we can achieve. It's almost impossible at this moment to go into tactical details, but I'm sure as we move along, you will see a number of steps being taken by the leadership as well as the people on the ground. And I'm sure through peaceful efforts, we will be able to achieve what we want to achieve. I think that should answer the question. And one thing, the next 15 minutes, I think Washington Times will be posting online a special supplement. Yeah, online. It's already online, Expedia. And a print version will also be available everywhere in DC and surrounding areas. So if you get a chance, please do pick up a copy. And a lot of details are there, and I'm sure it will help you a lot to understand our message. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Nadeem bhai. As Nadeem bhai said, if you go, I'll be happy to share the link what we have on Washington Times to get a little bit more deeper dive, so that you can see what we are unveiling. And yes, you will start seeing how the structured plan is. We'll be getting a lot of questions how this is all going to be implemented. That's the reason I'm glad that Tom is here. We have other folks who are also going to be part, or already part indirectly with our advisory team on the leadership level in the United States. So we are putting these pieces together, and this is again to emphasize is to stabilize the region and have a vested success for all communities, all minorities. With that, folks, let's enjoy the dinner, and feel free to ask Nadeem bhai and Tom open questions. With that, thank you so much for being here, and thank you for your time on this lovely cold day here in Virginia and United States. Thanks.
Can you send the map in a soft copy to the emails?
We will send you everything because everything is ready. Our team has worked, as Nadeem bhai said, almost day and night, so our press packages are ready. We have everything on the link, including Washington Times link. It's all there for you. So it's as we always surprise people on every year, our aim was to not surprise, but give you a happy New Year gift. Thank you.
Really